Lena Williams sat anxiously in the waiting room of Heritage Technologies, a prominent tech company that had recently announced plans to expand into new markets. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the excitement of the opportunity ahead. Her mother, a janitor at the company for over 15 years, had told her stories about the employees who worked there, their drive, their ambition, their polished, immaculate appearances. But Lena was different. She hadn't grown up with privilege or connections. What she had was a keen mind, a passion for solving problems, and a determination that burned brighter than any barrier she might face. Her resume wasn't stellar, not by industry standards. She had attended a state school, not a prestigious university. She had no connections to elite networks. But what she had was a unique perspective, a view from the bottom that no one else could offer, a fresh set of eyes. When she had applied for the position of a data analyst, she didn't expect much. She knew the odds were stacked against her, but she had dreamed of working at Heritage Technologies for as long as she could remember. Her mother's worn shoes had walked those halls for years, cleaning up after the very people Lena hoped to join one day. After what felt like an eternity, a secretary called her name. She stood up, squared her shoulders, and walked into the interview room. The panel was made up of three executives, including the CEO, Ethan Clark, a tall, sharply dressed man in his late 40s, with a reputation for being both visionary and ruthless in his decisions. He studied Lena with a mixture of curiosity and mild skepticism. Her unpolished appearance, her natural curls pulled back in a neat ponytail, a simple blouse, and slacks that were nothing like the suits the other candidates wore, didn't match the image of the top-tier talent they usually hired. The questions came fast. What makes you think you're qualified for this position? Why should we hire you over someone with more experience? Lena answered with confidence, explaining how she had worked on several personal projects, using open-source data to uncover patterns in urban development that others had overlooked. She had an uncanny ability to see beyond the surface, to look at data and extract stories from it. But the more she spoke, the more she felt like they weren't listening. And then it happened. Ethan Clark, with a dismissive glance, leaned back in his chair and said, "I'm sorry, but I don't think you're the right fit for this position. We need someone with more experience and a more prestigious background. Thank you for your time." Lena's heart sank. She had known it was coming, but that didn't make the sting any less. She stood up, offered a polite smile, and walked out of the room, holding back the tears threatening to fall. Her mother was waiting for her in the lobby, the same tired smile on her face. "How did it go?" she asked. "I didn't get it, Mom," Lena replied softly, "but it's okay. I'll keep looking." But Lena couldn't just let it go. She knew that, despite the rejection, there was something that no one at Heritage Technologies had considered: the company's biggest challenge. They were struggling to break into new markets, unable to translate their sophisticated data tools into a form that was useful for the local, smaller-scale businesses they were trying to reach. For days, Lena couldn't stop thinking about the problem. She couldn't afford to just move on. After all, this was a problem that needed a solution, and she knew she could offer one. She began researching the issue more thoroughly, analyzing patterns in small businesses' data and comparing them to the company's market research. Slowly, Lena began to see what the CEO and his team had missed. Heritage Technologies' complex systems were too advanced for the very people they needed to reach. What they needed was a more intuitive, simplified version of their tools, something that allowed small business owners to access and interpret data without feeling overwhelmed. Lena spent nights working on a proposal, creating mock-ups, and offering clear explanations. She knew it was a long shot, but she had nothing to lose. The company's struggles had become her mission. The problem had found its way into her mind, and she couldn't let go until she had solved it. The next week, she returned to Heritage Technologies, uninvited but determined. She knew the CEO's schedule from her mother's inside knowledge. Lena waited outside the building, hoping to get a few moments of Ethan Clark's time. When he finally walked by, Lena didn't hesitate. "Mr. Clark, I need just 5 minutes of your time. I think I've found the solution to the problem your company is facing." Ethan paused, his brow furrowing slightly. He remembered her, the janitor's daughter, the one who had been rejected. but something in her eyes, in her voice, told him she wasn't there to beg. She was there to offer something. 5 minutes, he agreed, leading her to a conference room. Lena laid out her plan, a streamlined, more user-friendly version of the company's analytics platform, one that could be scaled down to suit the needs of small businesses. She spoke passionately, backing her ideas with data and insights. She pointed out how Heritage Technology's current approach was too technical for smaller markets and how a simplified version could open up new doors for the company. Ethan listened intently, his skepticism slowly turning into curiosity. By the time Lena finished, there was a long silence. "Where did you come up with this?" Ethan asked, still processing everything. "I spent the last few days looking into your markets, your data, and the tools you've built. It's all there in the numbers, but you're not connecting the dots. Small businesses need something more accessible," she explained. Ethan stood up, walking over to the window. He was silent for a long moment before turning back to face her. "This is exactly what we've been missing.